I am Lisa Singer. I am the Senior Director Editorial of Brand Insider at Media Post, and this is a special edition of Brand Insider BTS, where I get to pull back the curtain on some of the most influential women marketers today. And we are at the beautiful Hyatt Regency Coconut Point Resort and Spa. And with me is my special guest, Melissa Fry.
Hi.
She is the Senior Director of Marketing at HOA Brands. Hey,
Hi,
Melissa.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm so good. Thanks for having me.
Well, we're so happy to do this. I know you already did your presentation
I did.
talking about Hooters rebranding or HOA rebranding and just getting fresh. But now I get to talk about you and find out the other side of you.
Let's get into it. I'm excited.
So, well, I want to start off. The SNL did a parody of Hooters last year, and it was with Sydney Sweeney, and it was really funny, I think.
It was awesome. Yeah. We loved it.
It did play into the stereotype of Hooters and sort of objectifying women and that kind of thing. And knowing your story and knowing you, it's the complete opposite. I mean, you started as a Hooters girl, almost 25 years ago.
Yeah.
Donning the orange
I had
shorts.
the dolphin, the iconic dolphin orange shorts.
All right. So you were the Hooters girl, and now here you are. You've risen through the ranks to this position, and I want to ask you about that. Step back to when that was happening, when you were the Hooters girl, and what did you envision? In terms of, were you seeing this, or talk about that, or just your path to get to the point where you're now Senior Director of Marketing?
Yeah, absolutely. So, manifesting and mood boards is like such a thing these days. Back then, probably not so much, but I was fresh out of high school and wanted to make some money. And I consider myself an extrovert. I'm a social person. I had never stepped foot in a Hooters before.
Okay.
I went and applied and had my interview, believe it or not. And I was a little apprehensive, and I had some friends. They were like, that'd be perfect for you. You're outgoing, you're bubbly, So I stepped in, and the second that I opened the door, the girls were very welcoming. They thought that I was starting my first day, and I said, no, I'm actually here to interview. And I interviewed with the manager at the time, and they hired me on the spot. I started working on the franchise side, and I was working on the franchise side of the brand, and we were thriving. We were growing. We were expanding stores. So it was really fun because I got to be part of that process. I got to travel stores and open stores internationally and domestically. I also did restaurant operations, because I think it's important, especially as you grow in your career and in the marketing space, a lot. You got to understand how to get into the trenches, right? And know what the operators are up against, because we want to make sure that we have a harmonious relationship with them, and that what we're marketing out there and what's driving traffic into their stores it's executable, it's simple, it's easy for the customer and their staff to understand, because the Hooters Girl is the most strategic brand asset for us. So we need her to be able to kind of resonate that marketing message. So, fast forward, and I had the opportunity to do a ton of stuff as a Hooters Girl. And, I kind of was at that point where it was, am I going to hang the orange shorts up and, take a different path, or am I going to kind of maybe continue to explore this a little bit more? And a regional marketing manager position opened up, and I was kind of on the fence. I was like, I've had a great time. I've loved it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. But one of my biggest mentors, he was like, Melissa, you got to apply for this. Like you bleed orange. You love the brand. You're outgoing. You're passionate. You have creative ideas that we've done, small on a local level for that store to drive sales. So I said, all right, I'll throw my hat in there and see what happens. I ended up getting the position, and I was able to grow in that position. So I started as a regional marketing manager and worked alongside our VP of marketing and our CEO and ownership group, and was able to grow on the franchise side of the organization. I was with them for almost 20 years, and I was able to really learn the ins and outs of the business, because leading up to that, I've done training, dabbled in the L&D department a little bit, did restaurant operations, always reverted back to marketing. So going into it, I felt very strong and very confident, and this brand has given me that. And I think that's something that sometimes goes a little bit unnoticed, is the confidence that I have today is absolutely what I have learned foundationally from this organization. I was a shy girl afraid to walk in there to apply, you know? And so, you know, as my career grew and my trajectory grew, I ended my tenure on the franchise side with Hooters, running marketing for the West Coast division. So we had 5 different states, 36 restaurants, 2 casino concepts. And I had kind of hit my ceiling a little bit, you know? I mean, it's the franchisee, you know, great group, but kind of only is going to grow so much more, right? And I was very blessed during that time to have the opportunity to come out to where the corporate office is in Atlanta. I was on a marketing task force committee representing the franchise system, beverage committee, supply chain, product development, which again gave me so much more knowledge and power and confidence and made me really well-rounded in not only operations and marketing and how the synergies come together to make such a successful and iconic brand thrive, right? And so, and coming out to Atlanta, obviously forged relationships with the executive team out there, and they're trying to get me to come to Atlanta for a while. And I was like, I live in San Diego, you know, like 75 and sunny. Like, do I want to go to the Southeast? You know, timing is everything in life, and was presented with the opportunity to come out to corporate and run marketing for both, you know, corporate-owned stores and obviously supporting franchise partners and all of our programs and initiatives. So, you know, going back to your original kind of question with Sydney Sweeney, we're a buzzworthy brand, right? The media picks us up, social picks us up, things go viral, and we love it. You know what I mean? We're unapologetically true to our core. And the foundation that our brand was built on was the Hooters Girl is the most strategic brand asset, chicken wings and beer. Like, it's not rocket science, right? And I think just the confidence that it builds, and there is a stereotype, right? There is a stereotype that people have of Hooters, given the name, or the girls, and like you said.
Or more the girls, in terms of you don't want to be, because obviously you're smart, and you were smart when you were a Hooters Girl, and just as many of the other Hooters Girls are. But you need to own that. And you obviously did.
And I think what's unique and fun about it is, you know, we have had tons of Hooters Girls that have gone on, not just, you know, from being Hooters Girls and grown in the organization. There's a ton of them. Kat Cole was one, you know, and we've got people on my team that have been there for 20 years and have grown within the organization, whether it be on operations or marketing. But we've got women that have gained confidence as a Hooters Girl and gone on to big jobs outside of Hooters. Massive business, entrepreneurial, construction development, cybersecurity, you name it, working for the government. And so, yes, while the stereotype is that you objectify women, potentially to some people, what people need to understand is the confidence that it gives women and the opportunities, because at the end of the day, these girls are also building their own personal brands. And kind of what's that next stepping stone in their life. So, you know, I think for me, I saw the blue sky potential. And, you know, aside from the fun work environment, you know, there was challenges, but the challenges were fun too, you know, and you learn and you overcome. So it's been a great roller coaster. And I'm really excited for what the next 25 years looks like, because, you know, at the end of the day, like, I bleed orange, and I'm so passionate about this brand and what we stand for and who we are and what we do for women. Makes a really big difference, at least for me personally.
And I think also another thing, a point in there is, because everyone looks for their path, and I think even as we're growing up, okay, we have to go to college, we have to do this, and not everyone's made for that. And there are other avenues, and I think that you don't feel like you're stuck if you end up doing whatever that may be.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of different paths to get to something that you want to be and to be successful and whatever that may be.
100%.
So I do my snooping.
And I love that. Creep
I
away.
see all your stuff, and I remember, I want to get this right because I want to quote you. You wrote, "Here's to continuing to empower one another and making a difference." So obviously what you're saying, you feel that Hooters has empowered you and given you confidence, and you, in turn, with the Hooters girls that work with you, do the same, and with, I'm sure, everyone around you. But how do you do that when you talk about empowering women? And sometimes women don't necessarily feel empowered. They feel more insecure, or they have to prove themselves. So not just at Hooters, but in general, how do you try to empower the women around you to find the best in themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I would say when empowering women, and obviously I have a very close relationship with the Hooters Girls, and I can see myself in their eyes, and I know the things that I was apprehensive of or I was maybe insecure about. So when it comes to the Hooters Girls, I'll kind of answer this two-part. I work very closely with them, and I encourage them, and I'm available to them, and I want to be a sounding board, and I want to be able to give them advice and help coach and guide them. I didn't have a sister growing up, and so that group of Hooters Girls, past, and current, it's like a giant sorority. We have a Hooters Girl alumni Facebook page, I have my best of friends that I met through there, and we've helped one another along the way, in tough times and in great times, right? And I think it's important to celebrate success. I think it's important to coach and teach and learn, because I've made some mistakes that, have really guided me in knowing that, hey, don't do that again. And I can kind of help coach that younger generation. I also like to use my story to tell them and use me as a kind of like a case study. Like, the sky's the limit, guys, I didn't go and get a double master degree and, pursue all these things, but I was passionate. I stayed tried and true. I asked questions. I made mistakes. I learned from those mistakes, and I wasn't afraid to speak up. And I think you and I have talked a little bit enough this week to kind of know, I am a very vocal person. I am a very, very, very vocal person. And, I think that comes just from my passion, not only as wanting to be a strong, independent woman, but also my passion for the brand, and my passion to continue to grow myself personally and professionally. And I would say, to other women that I come across and I work with, my personal life, friends, family, what have you, people I meet in the streets, kindness and authenticity goes a really long way, and I always try to make it a point to acknowledge women and compliment women, and you never know when somebody's having a bad day, right? And I learned that as a Hooters Girl, though, because one of our mottos was we were an escape from reality. We were an oasis. And, one of my mentors early on when I was young was like, is the general manager of a restaurant, and he said, when people come in here, they leave their problems at the door because they'll be there when they leave. But when they come in here, they want to experience something fun. They want to have a great time. They want to tell their friends. They want to come back, right? And so, you don't know when someone's having a bad day. And when you pass people in public or just interactions at a restaurant, a bar, what have you, kindness goes a long way. And I think being able to be an active listener helps too, even though I am a talker. No, but being an active listener helps.
It's the same. It's just, and I love that you said about asking questions, because you said that's how you learned. And I think, and I hear this all the time from all different women within their, whatever brand they're working or whatever their marketing position is, that even at whatever level they're at, they continue to ask questions and learn. And that's the only way, whether you're is an assistant or whether you're a CMO, you're going to then improve and be able to move forward in your career.
Yeah. Have a voice,
Yes,
I think, you said it kind of earlier, is like when to speak up or when to say something or when to ask. And there are a lot of women in the professional space that are afraid to speak up. And, no dumb question is a dumb question. So I just, I encourage them to raise their hand and make their voice heard.
Yep. No, I completely agree. I want to ask you, what do people get wrong about you when they first meet you, maybe their first impression, and later they're like, oh, you're not that?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think sometimes when people first maybe meet me, because I am loud, you know what I mean? And I am direct and I'm social, and they're like, oh, she works for Hooters. And am I maybe unapproachable? Right? Because I can, and not, I guess not intentionally, but I will do kind of command a room, and that comes from me just learning that confidence space and, being at Hooters and kind of creating that environment and meeting people and, having conversations. And so I think sometimes maybe they're, would think that maybe I am unapproachable, but I'm the most approachable person ever. I talk for days.
I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
I ran into you in the cocktail party.
Yes.
Like a hug immediately.
Yeah. Yes. I'm a hugger. I'm definitely a hugger. And I love to connect with people. And so I love to hear backgrounds and where they're from and challenges, and do they love cats or dogs, or, you know what I mean? Just fun things like that. So yes, I think that's probably the one thing, is that I would maybe at times, and perception is reality, but at the end of the day, right, you kind of got to break through those barriers, that I am unapproachable, but I am far from.
Yeah, well, no, and I do completely agree with you there. Okay, so now we're going to, I always like to go to something about the brand and sort of bring that into it. So let's go to this. Taglines.
Okay.
All right, you guys have a lot of taglines.
We do have a lot of
Usually you look
taglines.
up taglines and it's like you get one or two things, but this
Girl,
you got
I
lot.
could have a library for you, like for the last 25 years.
But it just gave me more fodder to work with.
Yeah.
So, all right, one of the taglines is
Okay.
talk about a cheap date. Okay, so that's referring to a lunch menu. All right, what, I'm not asking you, are you a cheap date?
Well, Lisa, no, I'm not. No.
I am asking you, what is your perfect date? Or you're just a good date that you like to go on?
Oh, my perfect date that I would like to go on. I like to travel, and so that's like not a date, so it's like really bad example.
Can we go to Italy for the
I
weekend
was like,
for
can
a
we
date?
just pop away? Honestly, work life is so busy that sometimes a good date for me is just like Thai food at home. And I know that seems silly, right?
No.
I love being at home with, my loved ones and my pets, and sometimes it's just comfy to be in your space. But I also do like to try new places. So I'm a creature of habit when it comes to certain things. But when it comes to like dining and experiences, I like to try stuff new. So, and I'm a really hard person to surprise. So if people can pull that off, that's like, it's cool. Cause I'm just like, I love the adrenaline rush and it's fun.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm pretty honestly mellow. I'm not a picky person. You could take me to a dive bar. You could take me to a 5-star Michelin star restaurant. I could be at home on the couch.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Well, okay, all good, that works. Well, all right, next little tagline.
Okay.
Tapped temptations, quench your cravings. So what is your temptation and how do you quench it?
My temptation, I think my temptation is knowledge. And this is maybe kind of a different way to answer the question, but I genuinely like to learn. And I like to learn more, what I did wrong, what I did better as a person, as a brand, what have you. And it kind of goes back to asking questions, and I like opinions. We sat at the bar the other day and we were talking about Hooters, and I was kind of drilling into some people about their perception of the brand and when's the last time they went, and I was like, shoot it to me straight.
Right.
I'm the most transparent person. So I like to answer questions. I like to drill down and get kind of into the nuts and bolts of things. So I would say that's probably my temptation, and by being a social person and talking to people is how I quench that.
All right, that works. It's not quite.
I also like wine.
I was looking for more of that.
I also like wine if we're being true. So
Okay.
Prosecco is my go-to in the day, and a good cab at night.
Me too, cab.
Okay.
For sure.
Like,
I
who's
like
your
Prosecco. Well,
What's your go-to cab? Like if you had like
I'm
everyday
a
drinker.
cheap- This is where I am a cheap date.
Okay, I love that.
I go to it's
$2 Chuck.
I don't. It's almost. It's at Trader Joe's. They have it's from Spain, and it's like a Stromoli or something.
Okay, so my best friend in California, I think you guys are speaking the same language because she always has Trader Joe wine, and it's like $10 or something.
No.
Is it not even $10?
Well, it went up.
Okay.
It's now for something.
Damn
It's like
inflation.
Like it was $3.50, and then it like went up $1, I think, like overnight. But it was after a while.
Okay.
So it is. Or
good Spanish wine.
There's a brand called Crane Lake.
Okay.
That's like I think $5. Like, and seriously,
I'm gonna have to go buy these.
because and I'll be with people that are like, I've had waiters like line up from cheap to expensive wines
Yeah.
in a nice restaurant, and I always pick the cheapest wine.
I love that.
Always,
For you.
I love it. So
That's
just.
I love
I
that.
am a cheap date there when it comes to the wine.
Yeah, I am not a cheap date when it comes to that because I do like nice reds and nice bubblies. So
All right.
Rick will kill me for saying that, but it's true.
Well, so then I guess we can't. Sure, we'll just have to each get our own bottle
Listen,
when we go.
we could
out.
do a blind taste test
Yes.
because they don't have a Trader Joe's here at the
Okay.
hotel, so we could
Yeah.
maybe have the bartender pour us two,
and then
let's see what
less
happens.
expensive. Yes,
I'm into
for
it.
sure. Okay. Last tagline.
Okay.
Own the night, or at least half-priced apps. Okay,
Okay.
so it's not about apps, but
Yep.
it's more. This is: are you a night owl or a morning person? And if so, what's the routine?
Okay.
I mean, whichever it is.
Yeah, I would say that I'm definitely more of a night owl. But it's very situational for me. So there are times where I am a morning person, but if I was to really decide and look at it, I'm definitely a night owl. And you know, my routine, I think, comes from working in hospitality, you know, so, and kind of growing up, like, you worked later nights and where restaurants were open till 1 and what have you. But I think it also depends on what I'm doing and where I'm at. So, like, I got in a kick for, like, 2 years where I was the morning person and I was like the 5 a.m. gym goer, and my schedule gave me the flexibility to do that. It's not so much anymore. I'm also like, you know, still trying to figure out with moving from San Diego to Atlanta. I used to love to go outside, but Atlanta's weather is bipolar. And so like it's either like really hot or really cold. I haven't found the in-between yet. And so afternoons, I've noticed in Atlanta are nice. So if I like to go out and take the dog for a walk or, you know, cruise down the neighborhood, sit out on the back porch, enjoy a nice glass of like moderately priced wine.
I'll send you a crate.
Yeah. And then I also, you know, I have some TV shows that I like to watch at night and like binge. So yeah.
No, I'm for sure. I wish I could get up and work out at 5 a.m. Like I would love to just get my workout over with.
Girl.
I'm such a night person, so it's just,
that 5 a.m. club is hard.
I totally am impressed with anyone who could do that.
Same.
No, completely. I love you keep bringing up your dogs because I do know also when I was snooping and on your Instagram you had lots of
cats and dogs.
And dogs.
Yep.
That's a passion for you. Talk about that a little bit.
It is. So growing up, we always had animals, and we lived in a suburb, kind of, I wouldn't say farm town, but kind of farm town. There's one stoplight. We moved there in a dairy. About 45 minutes northeast of San Diego. And growing up, I had rabbits, chickens, a potbelly pig named Wilbur, multiple dogs, multiple cats, fish, I mean, you name it, right? And I just loved animals always as a kid. And my parents were very sweet. They never told me no when I brought them home because I'd be like, all the strays, they're coming with me, you know? I still do that sometimes. But yes, I love animals. I don't have children, so they are my children. And a passion project for me because, you know, I think animal welfare and, you know, there's a lot of homeless animals out there on the streets. My 3 cats that I've had, I didn't find them, they found me. So literally found them in the streets and parking lots, and they came running to me, and you know, the rest is history. But yeah, I just, I have a passion for them. I've got a soft spot for them. I had, up until recent, because they were all older and have passed on, but I had 6 dogs. I am the crazy person that when my one of my pugs, her name was Coco Chanel, so that's again probably tells you that I'm not like that cheap date, right? She at 6 months old, it was a litter of pugs that my mom's pug had accidentally, and they had 7. And we were keeping them in the family, you know, because we want to make sure they have good homes and whatnot. My mom adopted some of them out. And she wasn't developing as well as her brother and sisters. And I was young. I had just bought my house. I was like 23 years old, living in California, which is expensive as heck anyways. And we found out that she had a liver shunt, and to do the surgery in California was going to be like $15,000.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, I don't know that I can do this, right? So my mom and I did a bunch of research, and at 23 years old with a 6-month-old pug that they said if I didn't do the surgery would probably only live for another few months. University of Tennessee has a great veterinary program, and kind of on a whim, because we weren't 100% sure if it was going to be what she had, but we felt like 85. I put her in a kennel and we took a flight, and I went and spent 2 weeks in Tennessee, and it ended up being like a third of the cost, but she ended up living to be almost 11 years old.
Oh, I love
yes, she's like my little $1 million baby. So yes, I just, you know,
Yeah.
Animals are unconditional, right? And they don't judge, and they're so loyal, and I really love that. They bring so much happiness and joy to me. So
No, I completely agree. I'm such a huge animal fanatic, and I love that. I love what you did. So that's so amazing.
Thank you.
I want to just talk to animals now. But I want to ask you, has there been a failure in your life, or that you perceived as a failure, that redirected you in a more positive way?
Personally, professionally?
Let's go personally.
Yeah.
It could lead you that led to different work or things like that, but not in your professional career.
Okay.
Not in the day-to-day work.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
I don't know that I would say that this is necessarily a failure, but because I am kind of a very strong individual as a person, And I'm gonna get a little deep on you here, Lisa.
Okay.
My older brother passed away when I was 15.
I'm sorry.
And I think from that, I held a lot of emotion in. And so, I wanted to be the one that was there for my little brother. I wanted to be there for my parents. And I had to then rise to be the older sibling, right? And I had to learn that really fast in a very emotional time. And I think what I learned, and this was in '98, this was years ago, right? I think what I learned is I pushed a lot of my emotions down to try to be that stronger person. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to cry. You don't always have to have the warrior brave face on,
right.
And I didn't want to do it in front of my brother, and I didn't want to do it in front of my parents. So I kind of just shoved those emotions down so I could try to be that strong, resilient person that I know I'm capable of. But you got to give yourself grace and mercy. Not everything's going to be perfect.
Right.
And I tend to kind of be a perfectionist in personal and professional space, and mistakes are going to happen. There's things you can control, and there's things you can't.
Yep.
And I learned from that, and I'd have my meltdown moments and, cry behind closed doors or whatnot. But I learned from that. And it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And it's okay to talk about it.
And
I think people have a hard time doing that. And I think once I realized that and I kind of grasped onto that, it helped me, personally, to be there for other people who might be going through similar situations or emotional times in their life, but it also resonates in the professional space as well, Yeah,
no, I agree. I think, because I'm similar, it was hard for me. Everything always had to be, everything's great, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I think when you let down those guards, and I'm not saying I let it down with everyone, but you become a closer relationship, whether it's professionally or personally.
Absolutely.
It's a trust. It almost builds a trust that they feel like they can reach you in some way, and that because they want to help you just as much as you want to help them.
Absolutely.
And I think you're giving them the privilege of doing that.
Yeah.
And I think you take it away from them when you act like you're in control and you can
Correct.
do everything yourself.
Yeah.
So
and it fosters that emotional connection
Yes.
that is relatable and it's authentic.
relatable. That's the word I was looking for.
Yeah.
No, completely. I totally agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Now we'll go back to little hidden talents of Melissa.
Okay. Hidden talents. Whew.
So just like something small. It may not be a talent. It could be, but it's just like something that maybe people don't know about you.
Okay.
But just
I have two actually.
Okay.
And I learned them in Hooters. Hooters, one of our brand slogans, because again, off that list of
Yes.
like a ton, right? Is Hooters makes you happy. And the other one is delightfully tacky yet unrefined,
Yes.
right? So working at Hooters in the fun environment that we're in, we have hula hoops. We encourage the girls to have fun. So I'm a phenomenal hula hooper.
Okay.
And I don't want to try it with that pitcher of water over there because it might be bad, and I haven't done it in a minute.
I can get up and get it.
At Hooters, we would have fun. So I would hula hoop and get the hula hoop going. And then I could pour a pitcher of beer for my guests while hula hooping to fill their glass and deliver it. So then once I mastered that challenge, I was like, what's next? Because I'm a competitive person by nature. So we don't do this anymore because people can't get, hurt. And back in the day, it was a little bit more lax. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But we used to have bars in the ceiling of the restaurant that you could do flips on and hang. And so
Oh my gosh.
then I decided one day, it was a little bit slower in the restaurant, so my friends and I were like, hey, let's get on these monkey bars and let's hang upside down and try to hang upside down and hula hoop and pour beer at the same time.
Oh,
And
you gotta be kidding
It's a
me.
two-person job because somebody has to hand it to you, right?
Right.
And it was definitely trial and error, but I nailed it.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yes, that and we like to entertain our guests, right? So those are kind of some of the fun things that we do as Hooters Girls to entertain the guests and have the fun atmosphere and energy in the restaurants. The other thing that I can do, and it's a really good bar betting trick that you could still do as an adult, I can balance 2 forks on the tip of 2 toothpicks.
Really?
Swear, yeah, I'll show you tonight.
Wow. Okay.
So it's a fun one to do at a bar, especially if
I thought you
people
were
are
gonna say your nose or something.
no. They had a couple cocktails. You're like, hey, I'll bet you that glass of cheap wine, because then someone's
Right,
buying a drink for you,
Yep.
that I could do that. And I learned that at Hooters too. So
Wow. I can just juggle.
okay, hey, I can't do that, so you got me
And I
beat.
can do a good taxi whistle.
I love that. Are you going to do it right now for me?
No.
Okay.
But yes, I
Yeah.
can. Okay. All right. Going back more to the career, what's the best career advice you've ever received?
I have two, if that's okay.
Okay, you
Is that
always
okay?
have two.
I know.
You need to
I
pick.
know.
You need to pick
Pick
a side.
one? Okay.
Pick a side. No, you
I
can do
can't.
both.
I'll pick one. I'll pick one. I think the best career advice that I had, and I had two wonderful mentors on the franchise side in California. I was very intuitive and I wanted to know like what drives you, what is the passion behind the organization and growing in leadership roles. And he told me, he said, Melissa, I really enjoy seeing things and people grow. And it didn't really resonate at first. I had to really think about it, right? And now fast forward where I am in my career as a leader and with a team and Hooters Girls that look up to me, and I genuinely love to see things and people grow. The things is the brand. They're the tangible things. Sales, you know what I mean? I mean, that's what we're all in business to do, right? And I love to see this brand thrive. So I enjoy that piece of it, and I enjoy contributing to that piece of it. But I also really enjoy the people piece. I want to invest in my team. I know what they're capable of, because they help me be successful.
Yeah.
So, it stuck with me, and for the past 25 years, and I kind of always had that little voice in the back of my head.
Well, I think if you do that, you create a team around you or a group of people around you that are going to lift you.
Yeah.
You're helping to lift them,
100%.
but then they're going to do the same for you because they're representative of you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it completely makes sense.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Last question.
Okay.
We all have big dreams. What's your daily win?
My daily win. That's a good question. I think my daily win is suiting up and showing up and being there to support my team and support what we do as a brand, because you have to work together. We're a very collaborative group. We like to bounce ideas off each other, and I like to be present. I like to be there. I've had to train myself to kind of engage and disengage from sometimes like social media and your phone and your emails and stuff like that. So being there and being an active listener. And sometimes I don't always have to have the biggest voice in the room or all of the answers, right? And I've learned that over the time. But I think showing up and being there and being that support structure for my team, because my team they are the ones that make the magic happen, So.
That's great. I love that.
Yeah.
Well, it's been such a pleasure
Thank you
chatting
so
with
much.
you
I love
and
that.
getting to know this side of you.
Yeah,
I really
absolutely.
have enjoyed it. And we definitely have to have wine later.
Wine,
Yes.
cats, dogs, hula hoops.
Yes,
Like I feel
all
like I
of
have
the
a
above.
laundry list
I
of
can
things.
do the hula hoop, but I used to be, but now I'd probably like 2 spins and it would be done.
I'll teach you. I'm telling you. If you can do it once.
You carry around
it's
your hula hoop with
It's
you?
not in my suitcase, but I'm sure I could find one. It's like riding a bike.
Okay, all
Yeah.
right. Well, we'll give it a shot. But so thank you, and thank you for
guys.
watching.
Yeah.
We're in beautiful Bonita Springs, and we're at the Hyatt. What's
Coconut
the
Beach, right?
Yes,
Coconut Point. Coconut Point.
The Hyatt Regency Coconut Point Resort and Spa. Maybe I forget the name, but you can't forget this place.
It's beautiful.
Love it. So happy to be here. So happy to be here with you. And
it's been such a fun few days. I
yes.
really appreciate
So
everything.
Thank you for watching, and hope to see you soon next time. And bye.
Bye, guys.